So hey guys, and welcome to the section. So in this section we're gonna make a bill split tab. So let's say you're outside on a party with your friends and you have to pay the bill, but you also want to split the bill among your friends. You can just enter out the amount, let's say $80.65, and you have to pay $5 of tip and 3% of tax, and you have 5 friends. See, automatically everything updates here. And you click on split bill, and you click on split bill, there you go. I have the result equally divided 17.61. Everybody should pay $17.61. So this is a really basic app and also pretty easy, simple to make with just some basic mathematical operations and a really beautiful UI. So the main intention of this app is just to get you into this course, like a small warm-up. It's a basic app, I know. It's kind of like a calculator, but I didn't want to build a calculator because it's pretty much boring. I just wanted to make something more cooler with a nice UI. Yeah, that's it for the introduction. Let's go and code out this application. So I created a new project named BillSplit, and I got all my files which are provided by Flutter when I create a new project. And coming to the packages, let's go to pubspec.yaml, and I only got one package. Make sure to get this package. This is named Google Fonts, because normally in Flutter you would actually configure your fonts down here. You would download the TTF file and just configure the fonts here with the family name and so on. But this is actually really complicated, and for example, if I want to use a custom font but I just don't want to download it again and again, I can just use this package, right? With this package I can just use any font I want in my whole Flutter application. Okay, so after getting the packages, let's go to main.dart and start on our home page. So here, instead of returning a material app, let's actually in the material app delete something. So let's delete all this stuff here. You don't need this. Don't need this counter application, right? So our home is going to be just bill split widget, and I'm going to create that widget in a moment. But first of all, I also want this debug banner to be gone, so I will just say debug show checked mode banner is going to be false because I don't want that banner. And let's create this widget bill split. Okay, so let's create a new file named homepage or home.dart. I'll just name it home.dart, and in that file let's import Flutter so that we can create the widgets here. Material.dart, and let's create a stateful widget with a shortcut STFL in VS Code, and I'll just say bill split. Okay, so I have a stateful widget named bill split. I just have to import that file also here in main.dart. Let me just do that quickly. There you go. Now when I actually save everything, I have a black container on my emulator. There you go, because I'm returning container. But actually let's not return a container, let's return a scaffold, so that first of all everything will be white and I can give a custom body. Let's return a scaffold. There you go. Now in the scaffold, what is my actual body? So my body is gonna be a column because I'll have elements beneath each other. So let's say body column, and in the column I have multiple children. Okay, so the first child is going to be a text named split bill, the actual title of my whole app. So I'll say text widget, and I'll say split bill, and let's also give it a style. So I want to style this whole text widget. Let's say style, and now I can use my Google Fonts package. So I can say Google Fonts Montserrat, because I just use this font every time. You can just use any font you want, like Roboto. You can just use any font with this package. And let's give some font size and a font weight. So I say font size is going to be 20 pixels, and the font weight I'm going to give is font weight .w700. Give some comma and align everything. Now when I run this, I should actually have my text name split bill with a font size of 20 and a font weight of W700. So it's quite bold. It should be quite bold. There you go, split bill. But first of all, I want to align it here. So I kind of want to see the text also. So let's actually wrap this whole text widget into a container so that I can give some padding and so on. So I'll wrap this into a container. And first of all, I'm going to align this. Okay, I'm going to say alignment.center left. So everything should be in the center left. The text widget itself should be at the center left, and I'll also give some margin because they should come a bit down. So I'll say edge insets dot only. From the top I want to give 50 pixels of margin, so I'll have some spacing from the top. Now when I run this, my text should be aligned good. There you go, it's aligned perfectly. But still I kind of want it in the center. I want some spacing from the left side and also from the right side for other widgets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this whole column into a container so that I can give some margins. So I'll say margin for the whole column itself. Now I'm giving a margin, and I'm going to say edge insets dot only because I just want to give for left side and right side. So I'll say from the left side give 20 pixels of margin, and from the right side also gives 20 pixels of margin. And after doing that, let's actually save this and see our title. There you go, it's perfect. Let's actually make this a bit bigger, maybe 25 pixels. Yeah, that should do good. And let's only give 40 pixels from the top. Yeah, this looks pretty good. So after the title, I want to have some spacing between this title and the other container, because now I'm gonna make my main container where I'll just have the input of the bill and also the tags and how many friends and so on. So this is actually the information container. And before that, actually before going on and building out the whole UI, I want to just give a big shout out to this guy here, because this UI is inspired from this UI in Dribble. So I just want to give credit before I just go on. So don't think I just invented this UI. I just took inspiration from this Johnny Vino from dribble.com. Really nice UI. Big shout out to him. Let's actually give some spacing between this text and the main container. So the main container, I mean this black container, but we're gonna just make it yellow. So I'll say size box, I'll say height 10. This is for just giving some blank spacing because there isn't the child for the size box. So I can just give a blank spacing of 10 pixels. And now I'm going to create a actual container. So let's actually say width, so that my app is my app should actually be responsive. So I'll say media query of context size width. Just take the whole width of the device, and height I'll just say 100 pixels should be good. Let's decorate this also. So I'll say decoration is box decoration, so that I can give some colors. So the color is going to be colors.yellow. And after this whole container, I'm going to give a child for this container. So child of this container is going to be a row because I'll have elements next to each other. So I'll also have a min axis alignment, but before that, let me just rent out the children. So I have two elements next to each other. The first element, which is going to be a column, because I have two text widgets again beneath each other. So I'll say column. In the row itself, I am going to have a column. And let's actually give some children. So the first child for the column itself is going to be a text which says total. So the total amount, just like a header. And style, I'm going to just copy this Google Fonts thingy here because it's pretty much the same, just 20 pixels, not that big. That's just 20 pixels. And I'm going to also copy this text widget here and paste it down here. For now, I'm going to just hard code the value, but later on we'll do it dynamically with variables. So for now, I'm just saying 34. The bill is 34. Again, I just hard coded it. Don't think it's actually not dynamic. And there you go, total and 34. But again, there's a problem. These four elements are not aligned perfectly. They should be aligned. The left side should be aligned perfectly. So to fix that, I can say cross-axis alignment for the column is cross-axis alignment dot start. Everything should be aligned at the start. Now you will see both elements are gonna be aligned at the left side really perfectly. That looks pretty nice, and this should kind of have a small padding. Okay, so I'll wrap this column into a padding, so I can give a small amount of padding. That's a padding, and I'll say edge insert at all 15 pixels of padding. So now you'll see it's kind of, yeah, there you go. And after rendering out the total and also the price, next to this, so here, pretty much here, you're gonna have the friends, the tax, the tip, and the actual amounts for it. So to do that, let's come out of this padding itself and say again we're gonna have a column. But the thing is now is this column is gonna have two children. So first one is gonna be the friends, the tax, and tips, actually three children, but I'm gonna have again two columns in a row. So I kind of want a separate row to have two columns, but I just don't want to confuse you, so I'll just show you what I mean. So the first thing, let's actually just create a column before I explain other things. So I'll say children, and I'll also say text is friends, and style is going to be, I'm going to create a variable named info style because I don't want to write the code again and again for the other things also, so that yeah, you kind of, you know, I just want to write some clean code. So I'm going to create a variable up here which is a type of text style, and I'm going to name it info style. And let's actually take this Google Fonts thingy, paste this over here. So this is just a variable so that I can just use this anywhere, because for the other text also I'm going to give this info style. And let's think about the font size. The font size actually should only have 18 pixels, and this time I'm also going to give a color. So I say colors.black. I can take this info style and actually just, yeah, I already have it there. Let's take this text again and do it another time here, friends, but after the friends I'm going to have the tax and the tip, how much tip, maybe tax and tip. Now when I run this, you will see a column. Here you go, friends, tax, tip, and again we just want to align it at the start, so I'll just copy this line here and paste it over here so that they're aligned at the left side perfectly. There you go, friends, tax, and tip. And the next thing what we're going to do is the actual values for the friends, tax, and tip. Let's take this column again, paste it again, but friends, let's just hard code it for now, 10. Later on I'll just do it dynamically with some variables. And tax, let's say 14% of tax, and how much tip we paid, maybe $15. Now let's save this and we should have the values. There you go, 10 friends, 14% tax, and $15 of tip. And again there's a small problem. So the problem is this should kind of be here. Okay, this should kind of be here, and I also want to give some padding. So how to take these both columns and put it down here? This is pretty much easy. I'm going to wrap this both columns itself in a separate row so that I have the two elements in a separate row, and I can divide this row with this column in a row. So this is pretty much confusing, but what I'm doing pretty much is in a row I have a column, so this is the column, and in that row itself I'm going to have again a separate row so that I can have some spacing between this one and these two widgets. So these two widgets are kind of like, they should be next to each other, that's why I'm wrapping them in a row. And now when I save this, there won't be any change, but the actual changes, I can change this here. I can say main axis alignment. So in the main axis I want to have some space, so I'll say main axis alignment dot space between, to have some space between this column and this row here. And there you go, we have that spacing there. As you saw, it was pretty easy. Now let's also give some padding, so I can just wrap this row into a padding, and I can say edge instance all 15 pixels of padding. Let's save everything and we should have some padding. Okay, this looks pretty perfect, but again there is some spacing error here, not the error, but it doesn't look so beautiful. So let's actually give some spacing between these friends and these values here. So I will say sized box. So this time width, because I'm gonna have some spacing in the width, not here at the height. I'm gonna have some width, so next to each other spacing, not beneath each other. So maybe 5 pixels from the width, so it's not that much of big spacing. Yeah, 5 is okay, maybe 10. Yeah, this looks actually pretty good. So I have 10 friends, tax is 14%, and tip is $15. So after rendering out this one, I actually also want to give some sized box and how many friends I have. So after coming out of this padding, not this padding, after this container, so after this container, I want to have a sized box. So a sized box, because I want to give some spacing between that container and the slider. So now I'm going to create a slider from which I actually can choose the friends. So I can just slide through and just choose how many friends there are. So before creating a slider, I just want to give a header. So how many friends? I will just grab this Google Fonts thing there, and I want to just paste it over here for the style. So the style for this text is going to be Google Fonts.Montserrat, font size 18 pixels, maybe 20 pixels should be good. Color so black, font size okay, and let's actually save everything, and we should have our header, how many friends. Perfect. And let's actually do a question mark because it's a question. Yeah, there you go, how many friends, and let's actually give more spacing. So let's say 15 pixels of spacing maybe. Yeah, this should actually do the job. And there you go, how many friends is the header. And after rendering out the header, I actually want to render out the slider. Like I can just choose in the slider how many friends I have, and I will actually create a slider. And for the slider, we actually have to give a value, and also we have to determine what happens when we change it. So value, I'll for now say 12. Of course, I'll later on change it dynamically. I'm just hard coding the UI for now. So what I'm doing is I'm pretty much just building up the UI first of all, then only I'm just going to implement everything on changed. So this on change function is automatically going to give us a value, so we're going to just accept it and can call something with that value. So for the slider, we have to determine some properties. So first of all, let's see minimum. So the minimum is going to be 0 friends. Maximum, let's say 15 friends maximum. You can just choose any number you want. I'm going to just go with 15 friends. And divisions, so how many times it should divide the slider. As we have 15 friends, it actually makes sense if we have 15 divisions in the slider. And the active color, so when I slide, I'll have that active color, right? So I'll say colors.orange, and the inactive color, which is not active, is gonna be just a gray color. Let's save this, and I should actually have my slider. There you go, how many friends. I can just slide through it, but the problem is I can't slide because the value is 12. I just dynamically hard coded the value here. But if I would have a variable like up here, if I would have any variable, I could just slide through this slider and choose the friends. But we'll implement later on, don't worry, because I'm just building out the UI first of all. And after the size, the slider, I actually want to also determine like how much tax the user has to pay, and also how much tip he paid. So after the slider, let's actually give a size box of height. Size box and height, I'm going to say 10 pixels. Now I'll have two containers next to each other. That's why I'm going to use a row again. So I'm going to say row and children. So there are two children. So the first child is going to be a normal container where I will actually choose the tip, and I say width is take the whole width. Take the whole width because I want it to kind of be responsive. I just don't want to hard code the width value. So take the whole width and divide it by 2. So kind of take the half of the width, and after giving the width, let's actually also give a height. So height, I'm gonna just say 70 pixels. And the decoration, so that I can give some color. Box decoration, again I'm gonna use the yellow color. And let's actually also give a border radius for this container. So I kind of want to have a border, so I can say border radius, not border radius dot circular, because it should be a circle kind of border. So I'll say 20 pixels, and when I run this, I should actually have a rounded container. There you go, 20 pixels of border and a yellow container. And for the child of this container, so the actual child of this container should be a column, because I have actually two widgets beneath each other. So first widget is going to be a text widget which just says tip, and style I can just give a Google font style here. I can just copy this. I'm going to just paste it over here. There's an error. Oh yeah, the error is I created a column but I didn't create any children. That doesn't make sense, right? So let's actually take this text and put it in that children's list. And there you go, I have my text tip. This is actually the header, and beneath that I actually wanna be able to change the values with the two buttons. One is the plus button and one is the minus button, but let me just save this one for now. So there you go, tip. Don't worry, later on we're going to give some padding. So okay, after giving the header, I actually, after this, I want to create a row, because I'll have three elements again next to each other. First one is the plus symbol, second one is the actual tip the user paid, and the third one is going to be a minus symbol. So I'm gonna have three children for a row. The first one is going to be a floating action button, so I'll actually have it in a container, because then I can give widths and heights. But let me just do it like this. So I'm going to say 40 of width and height, also 40 pixels, and the child of this is going to be a floating action button, so that I don't have to give any border radiuses. This predefined widget actually just gives me a border radius with an icon itself. On pressed for now do nothing, but later on we'll implement the on pressed actions too. But for now just do nothing, and let's actually give a background color. So I'll say background color is going to be colors.gray, and I just want to have a light color of gray, so I'm going to just say 400. And also after that one, I also want to give the floating action button a child. So the child is going to be an icon, icons.remove, and color we're going to see colors.black. So this icon is just going to be the minus icon. And then let's actually save this, and we should have that minus icon. There you go, we have that minus icon. And in the center, so next to this one, we should actually have our text widget. So I'm going to say here text widget, and they should actually say how much tip. So for now I'll again say 20, but as said, later on I will change it dynamically with a variable. So let's give again some styling. So let's just take this and paste it over here. So the styling, Google Fonts with Montserrat font size is 27. Kind of want to make it a bit bigger, and I can just copy this whole container. So first of all, I had a container, next to it I had my text with a tip, and after that text widget I'm gonna just copy this container. I just pasted it over here because I just want to change the icon. So here, instead of saying remove, I'm gonna say icons.add. Let's save this now. There you go, I have a minus symbol, I have 20 of tip, and I also have the plus symbol. But there's a problem, they are not aligned perfectly. So let's align them. So for the row here, up here, I can say main axis alignment, dot space evenly, because every widget should have a space evenly. And there you go, this looks actually good. So after giving the tip, so the tip is the header, then I have the actual tip 20 for now, and as I said, later on we'll just change it. Okay, don't worry. Okay, after creating the tip widget, let's actually also create a tax widget where the user can put in his tax in a percentage, and we can also calculate it. So let's come out of this big row. So we're still in the row, this is the upper row. Let's come out of this container. This is the yellow container which we just created. Let's come out of that one. This should be the end of this, and let's actually give some spacing between that container and the other container which I'm going to create now. So I'll have spacing in the horizontal direction. That's why I'm going to say 10 pixels width, not height this time. Let's again create a container. Let's give a width, and the width is going to be, take the whole device width and divide it by 3. So take 33% of the whole width, and let's also give a height 70 pixels, and let's also give a decoration, box decoration, and a color. So the color is going to be colors.yellow, and let's also give a border radius because I just want to have a circular border radius. So I'm going to say border radius circular 20 pixels, not 20 pixels, actually it's the radius. No, I can't say pixels, right? It's actually 20 radius. And the child of this container is going to be a text field. So I'm going to create a text field widget, and in the text field widget we can actually give some label text, label style, borders, and also the keyboard types. So when I click on the text field, I actually want to have a numeric keyboard opened up and not a normal keyboard. So I can just say keyboard input type, not keyboard input type. Keyboard type is text input type dot number, and let's also decorate this whole text field. So I can't use a box decoration. Box decoration is just for the container. For the text fields we have to use the input decoration, and I'm going to say border. So a border is going to be an outline input border, because I'm going to have a border radius for this text field. So I'm going to say border radius. This is how you go border radius for the text field. It's just outline input border thing. Not thing, it's a widget. And I'm going to say border radius dot circle, not widget, it's also property. Border radius dot circular 20 pixels, 20 radius. And let's also give a label text for this text field. So let's come out of this outline input border function. It's not function, it's a, again, I can't call it a function, it's actually just a property of it, and parameter. And I'm going to say label text so that user knows what he has to enter here. So I'm going to say tax. I'm going to tell him tax in percentage. He has to enter the tax like 14%, 13%, or so on, like a number. He has to enter a number. That's why I opened up a numeric keyboard. So I'm going to say label style is again the Google Fonts one, and I'm going to copy this and paste this here, and I'm going to say 15 pixels, and color also I'm going to just delete it. So I'm going to save everything, and I should have a, there you go, tax in percentage. But this is kind of really ugly, right? So this should actually have some padding. So let's wrap this text field into a padding, and I'm going to give 7 pixels of padding, and there you go, tax in percentage. And when I click on this, there you go, numeric keyboard was opened up. I can say 56 and so on. So that's it for the upper part of the UI. So after finishing up the upper part of the UI, so I'm going to have like from 1 to 9 all the buttons, so that user can click on the buttons as seen in the UI. So let's just open up the UI. So I'm going to create these buttons here from 1 to 9. So after this row itself, this is actually in a row, and after that row we're going to come out of the row and give a sized box. So I'm going to give some spacing. So I'm going to say sized box, going to say height 20 pixels. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create, let's actually think. So we'll have buttons. We'll have how many buttons? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 buttons from 1 to 9, and then a 0 I point, and then a minus I remove 1. And then as you saw on the UI, every button, like we have 3 buttons in a row, so we are kind of gonna have 4 rows, and in that rows we're gonna have 3 children. So let's go on and create 4 rows. Let's actually start with the first row. So I'm going to say row children. Now I can write a buttons code here. I can just say button and so on, not button, text button and so on. But the problem is then I have to write the whole code. Like I just have to copy paste it 12 times, but that's actually not good, right? We don't want to have that much of code. We just want to have clean code structure. That's why I'm going to create a function named build button, which actually just builds the button for me. I just have to call it here. So this will actually look like something like this. As a build button, I can just call this button here and it will return something. So let's actually create that function build button. Let's go up and create a function named build button. And this build button function actually takes in something as an parameter here. So this actually takes in a text. So which text it should render out. For example, 1, 2, 3 or 4, like which text it should render out. That's why I'm saying string text. And now I'm going to return here. I'm going to return here an outlined button. Outlined button. And on pressed, when you press on this, for now just do nothing. But a child of this outlined button is gonna be a text widget. And now the actual text value comes from this function itself. So I can just pass this over here, whichever is provided by the user, actually by us. Style is, I can just copy this again, this Google Fonts function. I can just remove this. I'll just have this color. Font size 25 pixels should be good. Let's give some commas and format this format everything perfectly. Yeah, there you go. I have my build button function. I'm returning an outline button, and now let's actually see what happens. So let's actually pass some variables, not variables, some parameters here. And let's say 1 for this one. I'm going to pass in 2 as an argument. 3. Let's save this, and we should have 3 buttons. There you go, 1, 2, 3. But again, there is a problem. They are really tiny. We can't see anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this outline button into something called an expanded. You should actually notice widget. This is a pretty simple widget. It just takes the remaining width and height which is provided. Now see, when I save this, there you go, 1, 2 and 3. And I'm going to do the same thing again multiple times. I'm going to have 4 rows, as I said, right? So 1, 2, 3 and then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then here I'm going to say point, because I actually also want to have some decimal numbers. And here at the 0 and here and minus. So when a user clicks on this minus, you can just clear out this bill, the bill price. And when I save this, you will see, there you go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But actually they're too small now. So to make it a bit bigger, let's actually wrap them into, let's actually give it some padding. So in the outline button, I can say style for this is outlined button dot style from, and I can give some padding. So I can say padding is going to be edge insets dot only, not only from every, let's say from all size. So let's say 20 pixels from the all size. There you go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And now when I have a button down here, it will just make some space for it. You will see it. So after these rows, let's actually create a button named split bill. When the user clicks on this, you can split the bill. So after this row, I'm going to say text button on pressed will do nothing, but a child of the text button is going to be a text widget which says split bill. And in the text widget itself, I can give some styling. So I say style. I'm going to again grab this Google Fonts thingy here. So I'm going to just paste it over here. And the font size is actually going to be 20 pixels. And the font weight W is 100, but let's actually also give some color. So I'll say color is going to be colors.black. Let's save this. Now we should have a text button. There you go, but there was a render flex overflowed error, but let's just actually ignore it for now. And let's not ignore it because we have to kind of find a solution. But the solution is pretty much simple. We had an error because our whole page is not scrollable, right? I can't scroll this. That's why there is a render overflow error. But if I can scroll this whole application or this page in this situation, I can then easily scroll, and I won't have that error there because it will automatically scroll itself. So to provide a scroll, I can just wrap this upper container into something called a single child scroll view, which is pretty much just a scroll view. Now you'll see I won't have an error anymore because this page is pretty much scrollable. See, now I can scroll, and I have a split build one, but the problem is I don't have any color. So let's provide a color. So in the text button, I can say the style for it. I'm going to say text button dot style from. Let's give a color. So as a background color is going to be colors dot green. Let's save everything, and there you go, split bill. But again, there is a problem because it's not taking the whole width. So I'll wrap this whole text into a center so that it kind of has to take the whole width. And now the text button will take the whole width. There you go, split bill. But let's actually make this white. So I'll say colors.white so that it has a nice contrast. Okay, split bill. And so I think we're pretty much finished with the UI. So we actually built the UI. Now let's actually go on and implement the whole logic. So when I press on this, something has to happen. The value has to be changed here. When I press on this one, something has to happen. I have to be able to slide the slider. I also want to pass in some tags, and it should automatically change here. Let's go on and implement that one. Okay guys, so we're actually finished with the UI, and let's actually go on and implement the logic of our app. So first of all, let's implement the slider. Okay, how many friends? Because that's a pretty obvious one. So for the slider itself, I actually have to create a variable so that I can slide. So I'll create a variable up here, which is a type of int, and I'll say just friends. And the default value is actually going to be how many friends. Let's say default is going to be just 0.0. This should actually be a double, not an int. And I can take this friends one. Let's actually say friends value so that it's a bit specific. Friends value, and in the slider, so here the value I said 12, right? So I have to actually say friends value because it's a variable. I can just change this variable. So whenever it is something is changed, so this on changed function is called whenever I slide the slider. So I get the current value, and I can just change that value. So I'm going to set state because the state should be updated also. The friends value is going to be equals to whichever value I'm sliding on currently. Now let me just save everything, and I should actually have that responsive UI. So now I should be able to scroll the whole slider. See? Okay, everything is working perfectly, but again, I don't have the friends here. So let's actually change that one. So I can just do it pretty much easily. Instead of saying 10, what I can do is I can say friends value and convert it back to a string because I should provide a string and not a double. See, but now it's 3.0, but when I change it, see 5.0, 7.0, but actually this is pretty ugly when I say 9.0, 10.0, 5.0. I should kind of have a integer number, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually round this up. So to convert a double into an int in Flutter or Dart, you should actually convert the double. You should actually round the double, and then you can just say dot string to put it back to a string. Now you'll see it's rounded up and it's kind of like now integer. The double is integer now. See, this looks pretty beautiful. Okay, I have 6, 7, 8, 9. I can slide through the whole slider. So after implementing that one, let's actually also implement a tip. So let's again create a variable named tip, which is also a double, and a default is also going to be 0. Tip 0.0, and that variable itself you're going to put in here. So where is it? Actually not here, and here. There you go. Instead of saying 15, we're going to just say tip dot, again just going to round it and say tip dot round, and then I'm going to say just toString. Let's copy this, and let's save this. Okay, tip is 0. Now let's actually also make some incrementing functionality. So again, first of all, we're gonna come here, and instead of saying 20, again we're gonna say but this time I want to also have some dollar symbol. Okay, so I also want to kind of have a dollar symbol. So to implement a dollar symbol in Flutter, you can't directly say dollar, because this dollar, this is actually how you implement a variable in a string. So this is called string interpolation, but we can't do it. So to use a dollar in Flutter, you should actually have this backslash and say dollar to escape this. And I'm gonna say, I'm gonna put a variable. So what I'm doing is I'm just doing a string interpolation. So I have a dollar symbol. This is the actual dollar symbol, but this dollar symbol is for putting a variable into a string. So I can just say tip dot row dot toString to put a variable into a string itself. Let's actually do the same thing also there, because there also you want to have a dollar symbol. Let's save this, and we should have a dollar symbol with the tip. There you go, dollar symbol, then 0. Now let's implement the incrementing functionality. When the user clicks on this remove button, so this minus button, then the tip should actually decrease, right? So let's say here, let's set the state, because we want to update the state. Set state tip minus minus. That means you actually just decrease the tip by one value. For example, for now it's 0, then it will decrease by one value, so it will become -1. And we can do the same thing also here. We just have to say, wait, I just copied the false lines of code, and yeah, set state tip plus plus. Just increase the tip whenever we click on this add button. Okay, this should do the job, and let's actually save this and check out our functionality. So when I click on this plus button, there you go, the tip increases. When I click on the minus button, the tip decreases. Okay, that is done. Let's also implement a tags. So let's again create a variable named tags with the percentage. But this time let's actually put it as a string, and we're gonna later convert it back to an integer, because I want to tell you why I'm doing this in a moment. String tags is gonna be 0. And let's go to the 14%. Let's again do a string interpolation. No, we don't need a string interpolation actually. Though wait, we need it. So I'm gonna just set tip. I don't need this brackets here, because I'm gonna just have one tip variable. And let's go to the text field, and in the text field there is a function. I'm gonna just show you. In the text field itself, there's a function named on value change. So whenever a value is changed, we can execute a function or just update the state. So let's go there and say on change. This on change function is gonna again give us the actual value which we entered. So we're just gonna accept it. And again, we're gonna set the state now. So we're gonna set state. The tags variable is gonna be equals to whichever value we're getting from the text field. So let's save this and check it out. See, for now it's 3%. Let's say 2. They should actually update, right? But it's not updating. Maybe let me just do a restart once. So I just did a quick restart. Now when I enter a value, you will see it should actually update there. No, it's not updating. Do I have any errors? No, I don't have any errors. Wait a moment. So I'm saying tip and then I'm saying percentage. Wait, why did I say tip? Okay, that was a problem. Not tip, it's actually tax. I just forgot the variable name. Also here we have to see tax, not tip. So I just completely forgot it. Oh, I just entered. Okay, I entered the tax here, but up there I entered the tip. That was a mistake from my side. Again, there's a problem. Tax, I said 0. 23. There you go, 23%. So whenever the value is changed here, automatically we're updating this variable up there, and this is also responsive. And there is only one fix to make. So a fix to make, not a fix, actually the implementation. So we implemented the friends, tip and tax, but the actual price we didn't implement. So whenever the user clicks on these buttons, the price should be updated here. So we have to go, for that we have to go to the build button, and let's also create again a variable named price, or actually let's call it bill. Again, let's make it a string, because I'm going to just convert everything later on into an integers. So whenever we press on this, I'm going to say if the text is equal to a minus, that means the user wants to clear it, right? So I can just say set state. So why I'm checking, because I can automatically say set state bill is equal to text, but I can't do it like that because there is also minus symbol. So I'm just checking for the minus symbol and for the other values. So whenever the user clicks on this minus symbol, I want to just clear out the bill. So I'm going to say bill is going to be an empty string. Else, if it is not a minus symbol, then it's a number or a point. I'm going to say set state. But now I want to add upon the text to that bill variable. So I just don't want to say bill is equal to text, because that's going to just ruin my plan, right? I just want to add the text to that bill. So I'm going to say bill plus equals to this basic dot stuff, actually, plus equals to text. So whatever I entered is going to add upon to that bill variable there. It won't clear out the whole variable once, it will just add upon. So for example, if there is a 3, then when I click on 4, then it will add upon the string to that bill. So for example, it will become 34. Okay, and let's say default is just 0. No, it's not 0. Let's say default is nothing, an empty string. And let's actually implement this. Okay, but again we have to put in the bill variable here. I said 34, so I'm gonna just say here bill. This should do the job. Let me just save everything, do a quick hot reload. There you go. When I click on 23, see 23, when I click on point, it's gonna add upon to that string $23.12. Now when I click on this minus symbol, everything will be cleared out, because I'm gonna just here, when I click on this minus symbol, I'm clearing out everything. I'm just saying bill variable should be an empty string. So yeah, that's it for the home page. Actually, we've finished with the home page. We also implemented the logics of this, and let's actually in the next section go on and implement the results page. So whenever I click on the split bill button, I want to get the results, like I want to calculate everything mathematically and also say how much each friend should pay. So yeah, let me just see you in the next section. So we're finished with the home page. Now let's go on and implement the results page. So let's create a new file again so that everything is in a clean structure, named results.dart, and let's import Flutter, material.dart. Sorry, I just messed it up. Again, I'm going to say import and then Flutter material.dart. Okay, let's get a stateful widget named results page. And for the results page, we're going to actually accept some parameters because I want to know what the bill was, what the tax was, what the like how many friends there were, and what the tip was, so that I can calculate the whole bill. So I'm going to say final string bill, and these parameters actually we have to provide it when we are navigating this page. Final string tax, final double friends, then final double the tip, how much tip. Okay, so we have to initialize them because they're in the final. So let's say results page, this dot bill, this dot tax, this dot friends, this dot tip. They should do the job. And let's actually navigate to the results page. So let's go to home.dart, and whenever I click on the split bill button, so here on pressed, let's navigate to the results page. So I can just call a navigator.push function, navigator.push. It takes in the context and also it takes in the root. The root is just the material page root. So I'm going to say material page root. And for the material page root, we have to say builder, and the builder itself takes in a context again, and this context is going to return which page we're going to go. So we're going to go to the results page, and results page we also have to put in the variables. So bill tax friends value. Yeah, I just provided the variables up there. So up here, these variables, these 4 variables, I provided them as arguments here for the results page. So now when I go to the results page, let's calculate the amount. Let's actually save everything and let's directly come to the results page so we can see the results. Click on split bill, and I should be taken to the results page. There you go. Because I'm returning a container, that's why it's black. Let's actually return a scaffold, but the body will be a container later on. But for now, what I'm going to do is I want to calculate the amount each friend has to pay. So when do we want to calculate that amount? We want to calculate that amount whenever we enter this page, right? So how we can implement that in Flutter? Yep, Flutter actually gives us the init state function, and in that function we can actually just execute any function we want. Then this function is going to be executed at the beginning of this page whenever this page is created. So I'm going to say divide amount. I'm going to create a variable named, not a variable, a function named divide amount, which is going to divide the whole amount. So okay, let's think. So the divide amount is going to be var tax. I want to get a tax because the tax itself comes in as a string. So let's actually convert it back to a double. So I'm going to say double. Now if you just wonder why I put in var here, because I don't know which data type I will get, that's why I just said var double dot parse widget dot bill. So this bill itself is also coming in as a string, so I'm going to just pass it in a double, and actually tax amount, right? So I'm just saying how much amount it is with the tax included. So in maths it's pretty much easy, right? You just have to say the amount itself, then into the percentage divided by 100. So I'm going to say into, this is just normal maths, how you would work with percentages. Double dot parse widget dot text, and I have to divide this by 100, because when I say 14%, it's going to be 0.14. Then I have to say into 0.14. So this is a tax amount. So this is the amount included with the tax. Now let's actually create a variable. This is actually in a double, I guess. Yeah, there should be a double. Let's be specific. So again, double here. Final bill. So final bill is gonna be whatever, so the actual bill, then plus the tax, and then plus the widget, plus widget.tip and also divided by friends. So what I can say is get the bill itself. So this is the amount which is included with the tags, but now let's actually get the bill. Double dot pass widget.bill plus the tax amount and also plus the widget.tip. I'm just adding everything. So I'm just adding the bill plus the amount included with the tax and plus how much tip they paid. Let's put them into brackets because at last I'm going to do a division, and normal maths you would just divide it by 100, not 100 how many friends there are. So again I'm going to get it from the widget, so I'm going to say widget.friends. So whichever how many friends you're going to provide it, then it's going to just divide by the friends. Okay, this is the final build variable. Now let's actually create a string called divided amount. It's going to be empty string at the beginning, but later on we'll change it. Whenever we execute this divide amount function, we're going to change that variable, and I'm going to set the state because the state should be changed. Let state divided amount is equal to final bill dot to string. Yes, but to a string, but I also want to actually clear out the doubles. Like if there is a big decimal number, I just want to round it up into 2 decimal numbers. So I'm going to say to string as fixed 2. Only I'm going to just have 2 comma numbers. It's going to just round it up, and yeah, this should do the job for calculating the amount. So we did the all logic stuff at the beginning. Now let's actually create the small UI in the center, which is actually going to be provided for the scaffold. So here return scaffold. Again I'm going to say body is going to be a container. Do you know what, we can actually we can pretty much, no, I'm not sure if we copy it. Okay, let's actually just say container, body container. Let's actually give some margin. So the beginning will be pretty much similar to the home page UI also. From the left 20 pixels, from the right 20 pixels. Let's do it quick. Child column, because these stuff we actually already did it in the home page. So child column, max alignment. So I want to align this whole column in the center. So I'm going to say max alignment dot center, and I'm going to have multiple children. So the first child is going to be the results. So I'm going to wrap it in the container because I want to give some alignments. So I'm going to say alignment dot center left. It should be the center left, and the margin should be from the top. I want 40 pixels of margin. I'm going to say agencies dot only top 40 pixels, and the child is going to be text widget, and I'm going to say result style, and let's actually copy the style from the home page. In the later sections I'll actually show you a trick, because then we don't have to copy this Google fonts again and again. I'll create a full wrapper function for it, but we'll just handle it in the later sections. Colors dot black, font size, yeah, 20 is okay. Let's save everything. There you go, result, but that was pretty small. Let's maybe say 25. Okay, that's good. And coming out of the container, let's actually say in that column itself we're going to create a big container, because here in the UI we had here in the results page result, and then we have equally divided, then the divided amount, then the bill, the friends and tips again, which is going to be shown. And yeah, the container is going to have the width, and now we can actually, yeah, I can now copy some code from the main.dart. I can not main.home.dart. I can pretty much just copy out the first container which I created at the beginning. Oh, where was it? Yeah, split bill, yeah, this one. This one, I'm gonna just copy this, Gonna go to results.dart, gonna just paste it over here, and the height can be 100. Okay, but there are some problems. So bill is just widget.bill. No, not total. Actually, let's write here. We can't say total because here we have to write the equally divided amount, right? Equally divided, which is shown in the UI also. Equally divided, and let's actually say the actual amount which was equally divided. So I can again say a dollar symbol. I'm going to escape the dollar symbol because I'm going to use the dollar symbol in a string, and I'm going to say divided amount. Font size, let's make it pretty much big, so I'll say 30 pixels. And I have to also get the style. Let me just get the style. Also this variable quickly, paste it over here, and we have to change some things. So first one here, instead of saying friends, I'm going to say widget.friends. I don't have to round because already I'm going to have it. No, I'm not going to have it rounded up, so I have to say dot round. Here I'm going to say widget.tags, whatever tags I'm going to provide it. Here I'm going to say widget.tip.round.toString. Yeah, pretty much this should do the job. Let's again save everything. Equally, okay, I wrote the equally divided wrongly, so let's actually say equally divided. Let's save everything, and we should have the actual result. Equally divided, but there is no result because we didn't calculate. Let me actually give some spacing, because we have to actually restart this whole page, because our app didn't go through this inset function because we actually wrote the code now. The code didn't update. Let's actually come back again. Okay, I did a quick restart, and let's say, okay, tip again, let's say $5 of tip. How many friends? Let's say 4 friends. Tax, 5% of tax was paid. And how much for, let's say 60.75. Let's see if it can calculate it. Click on split bill. There you go, equally divided 17.20. So each friend has to pay $17.20, and 4 friends tax and tip and so on. And also after this, let's actually create again a button named calculate again, so it looks pretty much beautiful. So after this container, let's create a sized box of height 20 pixels, and then I'm going to create a new container because I'm going to have card now. So I'm going to say width, just take the whole width, and height, let's say 200 of height. Okay, 200 of height, and child is going to be a card, because here I'm going to ask the user if you want to calculate again. You can click on a button and automatically will navigate to the other page now. So child is going to be a column because I'll have 2 elements again beneath each other. We'll have some children. The first one is text. Here again I'm going to have small text, everybody should pay, a string interpolation. Then I can just say divided amount, whichever amount was divided. Let's also get this bill fonts thing and put it here for the style. So we have a style, let's say 20 pixels of font size for the text, and after the text I want to have a small button which says, do you want to play again? Then you can play. Or actually this is not paid, this is actually just calculate. So you want to calculate again, okay, then you can calculate. So let's have a container because now I want to give some width for this container. So I'm going to say take the whole width, but actually divide it by 2 because I just want to have the half of the width. And child, I can say I'll just use a text button on pressed. So whenever we press on this, we're gonna pop out this page. That means we're gonna just clear out this page and we're gonna go back to the previous page. So I'm gonna say navigator.pop. It's gonna just pop out this page, and child of this gonna be in the center. I'm gonna have a child with a text which says calculate again, and I'm gonna just have a question mark there, and I'm gonna have a styling. I can just copy my Google Fonts one. I'm gonna say how much font size, yeah, 15 pixels maybe. Yeah, 15 pixels should be good. Let's also give some styling for this text button. I just want to align everything perfectly, so I'm gonna just give some commas here. Yeah, there you go, everything is aligned. For a text button, I can say style is text button dot style from. I can give some background color. So the background color is going to be colors dot deep orange. And now when I actually save this, I should have a button. I should actually have a card. See, a small card which says everybody should pay 17.20. Actually, honestly, I don't know why I created this card. This was actually, bro, okay, this was just so unnecessary. And this container is also so unnecessary. I don't know why I created it. And also this column itself I don't need, because I have this text in container in a column itself again. Gonna give some spacings here. Now I'm gonna give some size box. There you go. Everybody should pay 17.20. Yeah, again I can just say dollars. And when I click on calculate again, I will be popped out. So the current page will be popped out, and I'm gonna go to the previous page. You will see it when I click on this. Click on this. There you go. Current page was popped out, and the same values are there. I can click again there, and there you go. I'm at the results page. Yeah, that's it for the whole section. I hope you enjoyed it, and this was just the introduction app to just get into this course. I know it was pretty easy. It was just a basic calculation app where we actually did lots of UI. That's why it took so much of time, because we kind of wanted to have a beautiful UI. So yeah, that's it for this section. Let me just see you in the next section.